Hello, how are you? Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining us here on the Lunch Plus broadcast. I'm pretty excited that Pastor is excited about that name. But we're so excited to have you here with us. Thank you for joining us. Make sure that as you are hopping on that you tell us who you are, where you're watching from, say hello so that we can say hello back to you, and make sure that you share the broadcast. Because every person who shares, that's an opportunity for somebody else to hear the awesome message that we're about to have today. So make sure that you do that. And I'm going to say hello to some people. I see Kevin Nowicki. You were the speediest on today. You beat Johnny in commenting. It happened. Johnny, somebody beat you in commenting. It's happened. Kevin says, good afternoon. What's right, family? Johnny says, hello. Miss Melissa Billingsley says, good afternoon. And Kevin says, easily my favorite time of the day. Oh, that's so sweet. Prill says, hello, I'm a sharer, and you can be a sharer too. And you're watching from the Tampa airport. That's cool. That's really cool. Chelts is watching. I hope that y'all are having a good day. It's been such a good series. We are, what week are we in? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I really don't know at this point. We are weeks into our series, and it's been super powerful, really, really great. So make sure that you do share the broadcast. And Buddy Crabtree. Guys, exciting news. Buddy and Serena will be here next Friday. That's awesome. Next Friday. So Crabtrees are on their way. It's going to be great. Now, for those of you who are just now hopping on, maybe you missed yesterday's broadcast, but I have a bone to pick with the internet. I was telling Abigail and Marky just a few minutes ago, I truly don't think that memes are funny anymore. And Marky has some hypotheses on why. She thinks it's because the 17-year-olds that normally make the memes and are really, really funny when they do it, they're not the ones making memes at this current point because everybody's making memes. So they're just not funny. And I challenged people yesterday, if you found a funny meme, caveat is funny. If you found it, send it. Kevin, I didn't see your meme until right before the broadcast, but other than Kevin, I didn't get a ton of things that, made me laugh. I got some where I did the, the polite thing you do, but none that genuinely produced laughter. So I'm currently at a point with the internet where I'm protesting them. If you find ones that you think will help break that protest, feel free to send them to me. But today we are going to do something a smidge different. Tanya said, hi, I'm Tanya from Albemarle. Hi, Tanya. It's great to see you. But right now, while you guys are hopping on, instead of memes, I want to play a game with you. I want to play this or that because Melanor. See, that's what I want to do with a meme. I want to laugh like that with a meme, and I haven't done it in a really long time. Marky says, make memes great again. Hashtag. So that's where we are. Thank you for joining What's Right. We will try to be more opinionated for you. But instead, we are going to play this or that. So we are going to put up a couple different things, and I want all of you, drop in the comments which one you think. So our first this or that, it's a pretty common one, but it's a controversial one, at least in my home. Okay, which one are you? This or that? Cat or dog? Like, I know right now in this room, these answers are divided. Which one are you? Are you a cat person or are you a dog person? This or that? Which one? And immediately, I knew Prilla was going to be a dog person. I knew Marky was a cat person. If Abby is responding, she's going to say cat. I would say, Buddy says dogs. Look, we're split right down the middle. Here we go. I'm not trying to bring division. I just want to know which one you are. Kevin says dog. Tanya says dog. Okay, Abby, you're probably... Oh. Abby says cat. Johnny says dog. Kevin says cats are the devil. That was very strong. Bring it back to me just for a second. See, in my house, George would tell you he's a dog person, but what we're really discovering is that George is just an animal person. So we have a cat, and right now he's a strong cat person. But our cat is basically a dog. Like, he'll play fetch, and he growls when a stranger comes to the door, and he guards places that George goes. He's like a cat dog. Cat dog. Cat dog. Alone in the world with a little cat dog. Buddy says that he is with Kevin, that he thinks cats are the devil. Okay. Anybody else? George just hopped on. George, are you a cat person or a dog person? And you've got to be honest, because the world is watching, including Jesus. Which one are you? Okay. Next. Another very controversial question. Apparently. I don't know why, because the answer is so clear. But which one are you? This or that? Apple or Android? Which one are you? I am very strongly Apple. Over the last week or so, we've been using some different software here at the church, like Microsoft software, different things. And it's reminded me how much I love Apple, and anything else I am not a big fan of. Which one are you? Answer however you want to, buddy. Buddy asked computers, tablets, or phones. However you want to do that. Pastor Nicole or Pastor Bryan, I don't remember which one, but they say, George, we're going to tell Hobbs your answer, by the way. Kevin says iOS. Tanya says Apple. Marky says, you can bring it back to me. Marky says Apple unless you don't like being able to help your grandmother with her phone. What a great answer. Prilla says she likes both. Johnny says Android. I would assume that this is Pastor Bryan talking, but I could be wrong. Apple. The Wrights are an Apple family. Okay. George is not commenting, which leads me to believe George is not able to comment because George is also an app. There he is! George. George says, I prefer dogs. You can bring it back to me just for a little bit. George says, I prefer dogs, but grew up with 2 cats and a dog, so I get along with both. My defense, Barat taught Hobbs how to fetch. Buddy then says, I'll say Apple computers, Android phones. Why? Why do you prefer Android phones to Apple phones? Like, I know my husband's reasoning, and I don't agree with it, but I understand it. Why do you like Android phones better? George says Android hands down, which is the only way you'll be able to really use an Android because they're so ginormous, is not using your hands. So that's where we're at. Okay, next. Okay, which one do you prefer? I think this is probably going to be a generational thing, but I could be very wrong. Which one do you prefer? Phone calls or texting? This or that? Do you prefer getting a phone call or getting a text? How do you want to communicate with your people? Buddy says that he prefers Androids because they have better cameras, they're cheaper, and they're better customization. I think that you're going to be converted when you move here, but that's just, that's a word. I'm not going to say it's prophecy, but it's a word. Okay, Abby and Prilla say texting. Holly says it depends on the person. I feel you. Kevin says texting. Buddy says texting. Tanya Louder says phone calls. George says in person. I know, baby. I know. George is my husband, by the way. I can say that. Marky says texting. Unless there are more than 10 words, then stop blowing up my phone. Marky Eleanor Dottie Dunphy. Jan says that clapping, that is Pastor. Very strongly clapping with Marky's assessment. Jan says phone call. And Marky just auto-corrected herself. You can bring it back to me. Yeah, Holly, I'm with you. It really depends on the person, but okay, this is not going to be a shock to anybody watching this right now. I have been a very wordy person. I know, your mind's blown, right? It's so surprising. But since working with Pastor, I have been purposing myself to be more brief. So whereas I used to be able to talk on the phone for hours, now, with the exception of like George or Pastors, yeah, it does. I do have stuff to do. The girls, Abby and Marky, have me using a different app to like send voice messages, and there's not a speed up option on it, and it's a flesh exercise to not be able to speed up messages. I really want to read quickly what you have to say, and if it's not quickly, then fix it. Amen. But I'm growing in that too, so it's fine. Buddy says we all know that person. Buddy says we all know that person that sends 10 texts in succession. If that's the case, just give a phone call. Yup. Ashley Melton, I love you. Kevin says, Marky, you live in the South now. Van is appropriate below Pennsylvania. So you're good to go, Marky. Way to go with your correcting. Okay, and our last one of the day. This is not as controversial as it is informative if we ever go to a movie together. When you go to a movie theater, what do you want to snack on? Do you want to snack on candy, or do you want to snack on popcorn? What kind of movie theater snacker are you? And I feel like this says a lot about the person. I've given this some thought, and I have my own preference and system at this point.
This is not a fair question.
Why?
Just go ahead. We'll talk about it in a second.
I didn't leave it off. Okay, let's see. Buddy says popcorn. Abby says popcorn with extra, capitalized extra, white cheddar seasoning. Prilla says popcorn all the way. Tanya says popcorn. Marky, this is not shocking at all. Marky says popcorn with a ton of butter and salt, enough that my mouth goes numb. Marky, why is that fun for you? That's like 5 pieces in, and what am I tasting? I don't know. It could be my tongue. Who knows what I'm chewing on? Blech. Holly says, how about candy in my popcorn? Holly, I love you. You have been Switzerland this whole time. Like, you've been in the middle. But she says, if you can't do it, then you've got to be popcorn. Buddy says, actually, why not both? Because that's not the game, buddy. You've got to pick one. George says both.
Buddy.
Kevin says popcorn is the priority. Milk dud secondary. You're a milk dudder, aren't you?
They're okay. I like them.
Yeah. You can bring it back. Oh, look at you. I never realized that milk duds were a thing that people actually sought out to eat. I just always thought of them as the candy that ended up in my Halloween trick-or-treat bag that I threw in the trash can. I've never been a milk dud person, so it's shocking whenever I see that candy. That's one I'd choose to throw away. Why is this not a fair question?
Because it's the salt and the sweet.
I understand that.
My movie preference is to have both of them at the same time, and now you're taking that away with your silly little game.
With my silly little game. That's very aggressive. Your silly little game just ruined my movie watching.
Yeah. It's wrong.
No, Kevin, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Milk Duds. They got stuck in my teeth, and I was a kid that had braces for 7 years, so things that got stuck in my teeth just were not worth it in what I ate. So that's probably where my bias comes in. But if Barrett, I stink. Milk Duds are a must. I don't know what's up with the hating on this question. I thought it was very straightforward. When I go to a movie, or if I'm on a road trip, pretty much if I'm sitting for a long period of time, I want gummy worms. Like, I want popcorn, but if I had a choice, I can make gummy worms last longer. So sour gummy worms are my movie theater choice of snack. Kevin, they, all that awesomeness away. I don't know what that means. Prilla says, I can side with you on Milk Duds, Barrett.
I think he's saying you can't throw all that awesomeness away.
Oh, I understand. Prilla says that Joe and Mike love them, and she can have any that she gets. Yeah, they're okay. George is a Twizzler person when we go to the movies. That's another interesting candy that I'm surprised to watch people seek out and purchase. Twizzlers. I've never understood that, but George super loves Twizzlers. Yes. Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
I decided to protest memes today because I still found none that were funny. So this was in lieu of that.
That's okay. I don't mind. I thought this was a great game.
Well, thanks.
Besides your candy and popcorn question.
I think that's a fair assessment. You could technically, to answer that salty and sweet thing, at the AMC theater, when it was alive and open, they have, for members, and you're a member at AMC, they have the gourmet popcorn that you can get caramel on top of it, so you could have in popcorn your salty and sweet thing and have both at the same time.
Yeah, but that's both candy and popcorn at the same time. It's not one. Which would you classify that as?
I classify
this is very
it as
important decisions.
I classify that as popcorn because when you buy it, it rings up as popcorn in the receipt, and it's not a separate purchase of candy. If the popcorn people have it as a topping, then I think that counts just as popcorn.
As the base.
As the base. Now, if your popcorn people at your fancy movie theater allow you to add raisinets as a topping thing, then you go for it, and that's how you can circumvent these rules. But I think caramel popcorn is in the popcorn category.
I think you're making a good argument for how people can sin easily.
I am not. This is popcorn. I am not advocating sin.
The way at which you found a way around the question.
No.
The way at which you found a way around the question to have both.
Barrett, thanks for being on the broadcast today. Way to find a way to sin. Good job, Barrett. Well, everybody, thanks for being here. I really enjoyed my last episode with you today. I hope that you enjoy whoever replaces me. It's good.
Oh, now this is good. Kevin says Cracker Jacks.
Absolutely.
I'm a Cracker Jack fan, but is Cracker Jacks popcorn or candy?
Popcorn.
No.
I think that's popcorn. The base of it is popcorn.
It's a dessert.
I agree.
Then it's not popcorn by itself. It can't be classified as that.
I don't even think of a way that it could.
See, this is the problem right here. Kevin said that's Barrett religion.
No, it's not. Barrett loves Jesus. I don't want some Yahoo 10 months from now to come on and be like, what's the Barrett religion? That sounds weird. Goodness. George says lawyer Barrett. George knew that both Marky and I like gummy worms. That's nice. Way to go, George.
I guess you would tell me that gummy worms are corn because they come from...
Corn?
Yeah, because the base of it is a corn syrup.
I need you to know that I was 29 years old when I realized corn syrup came from corn. I know that it's in the name, but I just assumed it was a thing, and it did not derive from anything else.
That's pretty funny.
So, well, way to catch up, everybody. Share the broadcast. Thanks for being on today. We are excited to have you.
Marky.
Yeah.
She says, aren't gummy worms hooves or something? Marky, don't ruin gummy worms.
Marky,
Come on.
George and I had this conversation with Marky when she moved here, right? I think so. About like what they're made out of. Just like if you look into what the ramen noodle flavoring packets are made of, you're not going to want to eat that either. Or really anything Jell-O. You would think that we're fasting with this sort of conversation.
I know, it does. This is a typical fasting show broadcast. Hey, Ashley Melton, Tanya says she likes sour candy. Do you like sour candy, yes or no?
No.
Everybody. Like, I can eat it, but I don't know, I would almost never choose it.
Yep.
Almost never choose it.
The type of gummy worms that I like, I don't like them to be extra sour. I like the ones that have the sugar on top of it to balance that. But as far like sour Skittles, Sour Patch Kids, no, thank you. I can pass
I got a
with
story about Abigail Wright and her sour candy.
Do you?
Oh, it's awesome.
Is it the gum one?
Yes.
That is a good story.
Abigail says, yes, she loves sour candy. And Ashley says, rarely. Arabella says, yes, I love it. George says, stop ruining food.
You know this already. I'm not ruining it. We've already discussed it. This has already happened. You already know this.
Yes, I like sour beginning with a sweet finish.
Abby says this
it's a very
story
refined
does not.
candy taste you got going on there, Kevin.
I like to garnish this with a little bit of. Abby says this story does not have to happen.
It's a pretty awesome one.
You would say
if you're
no
not
to
Abigail.
Holly. You would say no to sour candy in lieu of a lemon. Like you would just eat a lemon over sour candy.
Wow.
I would like to say for health reasons I'd do that, but I know myself. I would absolutely eat Sour Patch Kids first.
Holly, would you be okay with taking a lemon and sprinkling sugar on top of it?
That is an interesting theory right there.
I'm curious. What was that response? I couldn't hear what that response was back in the video booth.
It was similar to the one that I had over here.
Was it a bad response or was it a, never thought of it? Oh, okay.
Kevin says, I have a sensitive palate.
Sensitive palate.
Holly says she'd do that. Oh. No sugar on a lemon?
Yes, no. Holly?
Switzerland. I'm just going to start calling
I'm going with your Switzerland theory right now.
Switzy.
What was the first yes for? Because maybe we asked two questions.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. But you're also not a chocolate person, are you? Like, that's not you, right?
Not really.
So remind me what kind of candy person you are. Is it the toffee caramel?
Processed sugar.
Just give me the packet. Give me the hard stuff.
Like it's all the clear sugars. That's what I like.
So like, what's your, I know some, but what are your go-to candies? Like if you're road tripping in Pastor Nicole?
Hot tamales, because I really like cinnamon. I don't like... Used to, I really like Red Hots, and I really like the Fireballs. And I still like them for the flavor, but she's got sour gummies back there in the booth.
And by she, that's Marky. It's always Marky.
Yeah. And so I like the cinnamon on that, but I don't like crunching on it all the time. Yeah. As a kid, I did it all the time, but I don't as much now. I like the softer, the hot tamales. I like the Sugar Babies candy, the caramel. I like caramels.
Oh, okay.
Caramel flavors. I like chocolate if I'm longing for it, but I have to be longing for it, and that's not, it's, once every month or two is when I'd long for it.
So caramel and cinnamon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are some of my favorites. But anything that's like a processed sugar. So Reese's Pieces, not Reese Cups. I like Reese Cups,
George
but
is there with you.
Reese Pieces I like. And so when I go to the movie theater, that's generally my go-to because they don't have hot tamales. So I'll get popcorn and a Reese. And so it's basically like this: salt, Reese, salt, Reese.
But the Reese's.
Mountain Dew.
What's
Popcorn,
interesting is that your
Reese.
candy is also salty too, though. Like the Reese's Pieces are saltier with the peanut butter.
You're still trying to win the
No, I'm
debate from
genuinely
back
analyzing.
then. Yeah. Your brain is still trying to figure out how they can be both. I know how you think. You're going back so that you're going to bring it up in a few minutes and be like, well, is that candy or is that food? The base.
The base of a Reese's Pieces would be not candy, right? It'd be peanut butter. I wasn't going there.
Sweet peanut butter. And then you have a candy shell.
So caramel popcorn is salty popcorn.
It depends on I would say it depends on the percentages. But you also, it depends on the blending too. That's like, I wouldn't say that corn syrup is corn. I was making a joke earlier, but it's made from corn. So.
And this is where our brain differs. You immediately went to the percentages. What's the ratio of caramel to popcorn?
That's a great point. That I loved how you picked that up. Like I'm immediately I see pie charts in my head. Like all right, popcorn makes up 90% of Cracker Jacks, or whatever. But peanut butter is only, 50%, so it's different.
And I went to, what's the base food gonna be? Am I throwing other food on top of it? Sure. Then this is the base.
My mom says, I just want to go to the movies. I like Skittles. Buddy said my favorite candy is Skittles. I like Skittles, but I have noticed that Skittles will what?
Marky, I love talking about snacks.
No kidding. No kidding. Her face from the back.
It's my favorite Marky face to exist.
I can tell today is going to be unserious broadcast right now. So, Kevin, okay, Pastor's right. He's always right. It's a valid point.
You were talking about
Let me
Skittles.
just point out, while we're on the right portion, I was right before my wife was. Just let's go there, okay?
I'm just like that.
And we'll find out in just a second whether or not she's watching. Ashley says, "You are not helping me."
If you ever want to know how to make me sharply inhale, have a comment like that about either pastors. And so, okay, here we go. Oh my goodness. Did you see Kevin's comment earlier of, I'm a candy sommelier?
Yeah. Connoisseur.
That makes me laugh.
All right,
What are peanut butter milk?
Kevin said chocolate is straight from heaven. I knew I missed some. Oh, I was saying about Skittles. I like Skittles too, so that's a processed sugar, so I like that. But here's what I found out about Skittles is there's an acid in them that actually can hurt my teeth. And so Skittles, I found, do that quicker than other candies. Nerds have the same thing. It's a similar, I don't know, it must be some way of how they're made or something. So, but I like them.
If we're going into junk food that hurts you, then Cheetos are that junk food for me. Like if I'm eating Cheetos, just like cereal, it'll cut the roof of my mouth. Like as I'm
Captain
eating it.
Crunch. That's what we talked about. It does the same thing to me. It's something the way it's the size and shape of it or something.
And I don't know if it's just that when I'm eating Cheetos, I don't like it getting stuck in my teeth. So I'll often try to reduce it in my mouth. So I'm probably grating it against my own mouth. It's probably my own fault. But Cheetos are the ones that hurt so good when you eat them.
Rebecca, Marky is like Shaggy and Scooby.
Okay.
Snacks?
With Skittles, do you like the original Skittles? Like George is a mountain berry Skittles guy. When you go, are you a tropical fruit?
I like the original, but I like all of them. Even the sour ones I can eat, although I never would pick them. But I like the original ones.
I don't know what a melt
I
away
like the
is
mountain berry
either.
too. Yeah, nerds will do that. As soon as I have those, I can feel it. Because there was a period of time where we had some water that was bad, and I was drinking a lot of soda. And so didn't realize it, but that was causing like acid reflux from the soda. The soda was wearing away. As soon as I stopped soda, that improved and healed itself. But the Lord showed me that. But during that period of time, are y'all fumbling your snacks back there? What's up?
Like there's an intense amount of...
They got popcorn. My goodness.
You know when Marky has gone someplace because there's a trail of snacks that follow her. Like...
It's a good thing Hansel and Gretel is a fairy tale. Otherwise, Marky'd be in trouble.
When we did our ELT advance this past year, Abby, remind me how much food. It was what, a 3-hour drive max, like 3 hours max in a car. And Marky went and I think bought out not the grocery store, the gas station. Like, how many bags of chips did you have? At least 3, right? Yeah. At least 3 bags of chips. I feel confident she got a slushie. I also feel confident that there's some sort of candy thrown in there because she likes variety. So when she travels, she just travels with variety of snack foods always. So if you're hungry, go find her, and she's probably got it squirreled away somewhere. It's impressive.
Before we were so rudely interrupted by the fumbling of snacks in the back, I was talking about...
Grumble, 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 grumble.
Well, what I'm really upset at is that they got it back there and not up here. That's what I'm really mad at.
Way to
it's like
share.
Ridiculous.
Sharing's caring, as Pastor's been saying.
I was having some acid reflux because I was drinking sodas all the time. And I cut that out and it stopped. But during that period of time, my teeth really eroded, and it was not good. And so I learned what foods bother us. And so if it bothers me when my teeth were sensitive, you have to understand that if my teeth weren't sensitive, it would still be aggressive. But I wouldn't be feeling it. So it's good to identify what foods do that and what ones don't. And I rebuke Priscilla's comment that caramel is bad for the teeth. I don't care what dental hygienist said.
Full of Satan dental hygienist is what that is. Steal, kill, destroy.
Dental hygienist is of the devil. Yeah, I love caramel.
The thief comes to steal, kill, destroy, but Jesus came to give caramel and give it in abundance.
I'm talking about it. I can see now. This today is going to be renamed. It's not going to be the person who would be king. It's going to be renamed Candy Talk. Candy Talk. So there's a...
Is there a king type? I know there's king types.
Oh, Jade, you are right on time.
What'd she say?
She said hello.
Jade.
She's over on YouTube. You are so right on time. We are talking about candy and snacks.
Kevin.
She's like, I knew. I could feel the Holy Spirit drawing me to the broadcast.
That was the Lord. Good job. Just like we needed your input with 90s things, we need your input with snacks. Jade is a Reese's person. I'm just going to speak for her. Kevin says the people that eat all the junk are always small frame, petite people. Marky is the stereotype in that way. But not in any other. She's wonderful.
Jade says, what did I miss? Well, you missed quite a lot, Jade, actually.
We have been. Okay, favorite chips then. So we've hit on candy. So your favorite candy.
Well, before we keep that.
I got it.
Keep that, Jade. You're going to have to go back. It started with, we didn't show memes today. We did this or that.
Because I'm protesting.
Because Barat's protesting.
I am.
And
strongly. Yeah. Loudly, vocally.
She had a homemade banner before I got here. She hid it before I walked in.
I really just brought out the flag dancing today in protest of the memes. That's how we started the broadcast. You didn't see it, but...
I saw all your Crayola markers over there behind the chair. You can...
How dare you? They were not Crayola.
How dare you?
They were rose art
not
ones.
have memes.
I paid the extra $1 for those puppies.
How dare you? All right, so go back.
Is that disrespectful? I'm so sorry. I thought that was okay.
Oh my goodness. What's always interesting to me is when we have days like this is what do the numbers do? Because some days people are like, yeah, candy fight. And then other days Other days, people are like, what the heck are they talking about? Click, see ya. And it's always interesting. But then the question is, why do we have conversations like what does this have to do with Jesus? That is a great question. Barrett, answer that.
Well, it says in John 10:10 that Jesus came to bring life and bring it more abundantly. And what is more abundant than joy? So as we're laughing, we are taking in the life of God, and candy helps bring joy in correct doses. I can give a more serious answer if you would legitimately.
That was
want me
actually a
to.
serious answer. People might overlook that, but that's got a lot to do with it.
It does. Life is joy, and that's in there. And so it may not be conform to traditional, here's today's sermon, everybody, but there's life to be found in laughing and in relationship and in covenant. And this sort of conversation, this is exactly what the Lord wants to have with us. He wants this sort of intimacy where it's fun.
That's right.
And it's not just serious. There's a time to go be serious with Jesus, and there's a time to relax and rest and have that intimate time with him too. He is all a part of this.
Yeah, well, there was, a couple of days ago, I was talking about how the Lord was telling me, or maybe it wasn't on here, I was having a conversation with somebody, and the Lord said, you're not having any fun.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to preach, and I was like, you're right, I'm not having any fun because people are making me mad. And he said, you need to choose to have fun.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times what people are doing is, here's the thing, what I've found, and I used to be the worst at this, I would pass by something like this like it wasn't important.
Yeah.
And it was family time. It was the joy of the Lord. It was connecting on things. Because here's the truth. God said it. We are in this world, but we're not of this world. But that doesn't mean that we don't have to deal with things in this world, like candy addiction.
Yeah.
We are in the world, but not of the world. But we still have things that we have to make choices on are we going to have popcorn and candy at the movie theater. And that may sound silly, but here's the issue, and the Lord showed us this with church, is that people need family.
Yeah.
They'll come for the power and the word and the revelation of God, but if they don't have family, family is an accountability, and that's why it's so important in the assembly. And not just assembly solely to hear the word preached, but an assembly where you truly go through life and experience things together.
Right.
And for example, I can take any Marine in the world, and instantly he and I can bond just like that. Why? Because we know what each other have gone through, even though we didn't go through it at the same time. It instantly made every Marine a family. And I'm telling you, if I was in the world and we found ourselves in a jam, those two Marines who had never met before, they will go back to back and fight together like they were. Why? Yeah. Because they've been through some things. And I've found, one of the things is when you go through things together, not just the bad things, but the good things too, you will have a bond where you will stand in agreement. So many times people will pass by a broadcast like this and they'll just be like, well, that's not important. I'm not learning anything. Maybe you need to hang around. Right. Maybe there is something to be learned that's not obvious on the surface. And so it's important to have those things. Kevin, have a good flight. He says, got to board the plane now. So.
Derek. Hi, Derek. It's good to see you.
Yeah, Abigail says, after the broadcast is over, I'm going to the gas station on a snack run.
You were talking about candy addiction. I knew you were at the middle of a serious point, so I held it in. But all I thought of was, in Jesus' name, we bind the Nestle spirit that's in this world. We bind you.
You foul Nestle spirit, I cast you out.
Come
all
out
of you
now.
Cacao base root.
Cacao?
Whatever you call it. CACAO, isn't that
whatever it is.
That would be the base ingredient that's used in certain percentages to make chocolate.
The healthy thing that grows and is really beneficial and nutritional.
Yeah. Cacao.
That's one of those
Put that
words.
in the comments. Hashtag cacao, like ka-chow. Like.
That's a word. That one is like the ACAI word, that berry that
Acai berry?
Sure.
You can't say that.
No.
Acai?
Acai.
Cacao.
I don't know. Cacao.
What's funny is if anybody's on a lag, but they see comments come through, they're going to be like, #cacao.
Cacao.
What the?
Okay, so your favorite candies are caramel and hot tamale cinnamon.
Cinnamon and just sugar.
And just
sugar.
Just all of it. It's all good.
I was thinking the other day, it was a regular breakfast of mine, and we've not duplicated this in my house, and this is trouble. Is we would have cinnamon toast all the time, which basically boiled down to a piece of toast on a pan
Wheat,
with butter
dairy.
across it. Like you'd cut off a piece of butter, then you'd split it into quarters, and then you'd put like 1/4 on each corner, and then you would sprinkle cinnamon over it and sprinkle sugar over it, and depending on who made it was how much sugar was involved. If I made it, it was pretty thick.
I'm getting such a good picture of you cooking right now. Like, okay, so here's the quarters, and they have to be separated, and then this percentage of butter. Like
The way that we think differently, you and I, is humorous. It's very humorous. I think Nicole just sits back and laughs. Like she sees me talk about quarters and percentages, and she looks at Barrett just to see how's this going to process when those words hit her ears.
I know what he's talking about. It's not that I don't know what he's talking about. I'm like, okay, so you cut the bread, you cut it into fourths, and then you just put it in the pan, put some butter on it, sprinkle some cinnamon and sugar, and you're good.
Yeah.
Flip it over.
And then for breakfast,
But
well,
you would time
first
it
of
out.
all,
I bet you would. When
you make sure. You make sure it's not overcooked or undercooked.
Are you
want
a
it
timer
I
person?
like things the same every
Yes.
single time. I like them precise.
You're very procedural.
Yes. Yes.
Procedural.
No, you
whatever.
keep on. I'm enjoying this.
Procedural. I don't know.
And we really can't go any further until I answer Holly's question because
Okay.
it's very important.
I'm done.
It says, Pastor Bryan Nicole, right?
Pastor Bryan Nicole.
Do you like red hots or hot tamales better? Hot tamales. Because red hots I like the taste of red hots, but they're so hard, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So,
I think my favorite.
George says he gets a kick out of watching you respond to that too. But we would take grits with grits and butter, and then we'd sprinkle sugar all over the top of it.
That's weird.
No, it's
I'm
good.
sure it's good, but in my head it's weird because grits to me are supposed to be like a saltier thing. So it's like kettle corn.
That's the thing. It's a blend of. I really like the blend of salty and
Do
sweet.
you like kettle corn?
Yes, but a lot of times it has a different flavor. I like the thought of kettle corn, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I'd rather have salty, caramel popcorn, that kind of
Yeah.
thing than the kettle corn.
Well, I think mine are gummy worms for sure. Like that's a for sure thing. And then Raisinets are almost always on there.
This is going to be our highest commented broadcast we've ever had.
We're going to get the 100 today.
Oh, we passed that about the time I sat down.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. We're in it to win it.
Jade says, "What do you think about the popcorn and the mini M&Ms in it?" That's.
I don't like that.
We just had that the other day. So.
I don't like that because it gets my hands disgusting. Like if I was eating it with a spoon, maybe, but I'm like Luke, where I don't want my hands to get gross.
I don't like that either. Yeah.
So if it's gonna make that happen, then I'm just gonna skip it and find something else.
I agree. I don't like getting a bunch of stuff all over my hands, so that's the only reason I don't like it. But if I had a fork or a spoon to eat it,
Yep.
I'm good with it.
Yep, I would be too.
Yeah. But it is tasty. I like M&Ms. So that's a chocolate that I do like. I like M&Ms.
What
And
kind of M&Ms?
well, if my go-to would be the peanut M&Ms.
Okay.
That would be my go-to.
the
But
peanut
I can
butter.
eat the regular ones easy too. I don't really like the peanut butter M&Ms.
Really? How come?
I'd rather have the peanut.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just not. When I think about M&Ms, I think chocolate, and they're chocolate. So.
Do you like the peanut butter taste in it? Because you're a Reese's Pieces person.
No,
So
I like the Reese's Pieces. I don't like the M&Ms.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't say peanut butter M&Ms. That's on my top 3 candies.
Evan DiDio. Good footage you had for the National Day of Prayer. Thank you, sir. We are talking, Evan, I want you to know, we are talking about very, very important stuff today.
Truly.
Very important stuff.
Evan, I need to let you know.
Candy and snacks. What did my mom say? Read Marky's comment.
The way Pastor enjoys food, yet still fast, helps give me strength. Truth.
I need to fast right now, not because I need more of Jesus, but I always need that. But I really just need to lose some weight.
I understand.
I need to fast.
Evan, I need to make a confession to you. I don't know how to properly say your name, like your last name. Anytime I say it, I get told I'm doing it incorrectly. So I've just assumed that people know if I'm talking about Evan, they're going to know I'm talking about you. Just like if I'm talking about Pastor Allen, they're going to know I'm talking about your dad. And I've kind of just given up saying your last name. So,
Ooh.
like, Didio? Didio. Didio.
Didio. Yeah, that was it.
Didio. I've got it right now because Pastor's sitting beside me.
My mom says, but you eat Cheetos. But you know what? I don't like eating Cheetos as much because they mess up my fingers. But I will eat them.
That.
However, now see, watch. And Priscilla said peanut M&M is way different. I agree. But then, like George brings up a good point. He says Barrett eats ribs with a fork and a knife.
I do.
That offends me.
I'm sorry.
No, you can't eat ribs like that. There's certain
But
food you can only eat
I
a certain way.
physically do it that way.
Like, this is totally new thing where people take their wings and use a fork to get the meat off of the wing.
I'm that person too. I do that as well.
I've never seen that in my life till the last 5 years. I'm like, who does that? No, you pick that joker up and you eat it. There's certain things you get your hands messy and you just assume, all right, I'm going through, I'm eating all the wings, I'll eat the rest of the food later, I'm going to get the messy out of the way and then I'll clean up.
No, but I am consistent in my behavior though, because it's not like I just picked ribs and decided I'm just going to be weird with this one. I'm weird with all of them. So I eat pizza with a knife.
Would you say that one more time?
I'm weird with all the food.
Would you say that one more time, but only say the first half of the sentence?
I am consistently weird with my food. But I am, like, I don't like getting messy with food at all. So I eat pretty much everything with a knife and a fork, no matter what it is.
Kevin DeWicki is supposed to be on the plane. All of a sudden he jumps back in. What? Eating ribs with a knife and a fork? That's against culinary law.
Kevin, put your phone away. You've got a plane to be on. It's dangerous. Put it up.
He says it's like barbecue blasphemy.
Oh, goodness.
It's a great broadcast.
Okay, so we've hit on candy. Chips. Go.
Well, hold on, because my mom said something very important. She likes Cadbury eggs. Me too. Me too. I like them a lot.
I like the inside. I don't care for the chocolate as much.
I would agree. I like the inside. You know why? Processed sugar.
With your cinnamon toast that you got, did you ever have your mom or you make the frosting to go on top of it with the powdered sugar?
No.
Yeah, it's the frosting that you'd put on top of a cinnamon roll, and you can put that on top of the French toast because it's basically the same thing.
So the frosting is my favorite part of the cinnamon roll, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it will soon become your favorite part of French toast as well.
I've never had that.
You put powdered sugar and some milk, and you whip it together, and it's pretty great.
Jade, don't be such a girl, Barrett.
Your mom, Jade. Your mom.
You need to pull up the Restream chat so you can see YouTube as well.
Okay.
But anyway.
Do you eat those with a spoon? Do I eat what with a spoon? Cinnamon rolls? French toast?
Yeah, that's a good question. Do you eat cinnamon rolls with a spoon?
I don't know the last time I've eaten a cinnamon roll. I don't know the last time I've had one where it's been hot. So when it's cold and it's not as sticky, I think I'll eat those with my hands. I think if it's hot, I would probably eat it with a knife and a fork, but not because of the cleanliness aspect, so that way I could portion it out. Because if I'm eating it, I'm going to take a giant bite of that cinnamon roll and have 3 bites and be done. But if I eat it with a knife and a fork, I can pace myself in what I'm doing.
Buddy says, do you remember Wonder Balls?
No.
I can't say that I do.
No. You brought
Marky?
What? Marky!
She said, yes, I remember them. I tried shoplifting one when I was 5.
Marky Eleanor!
You criminal! I haven't read the rest of what she wrote, but you criminal!
She said that it melted in her jacket. That's the Lord. That's the Lord.
Never
Marky.
tried shoplifting again. That was, yeah.
Kevin asked me how I eat lobster.
What?
I crack it and with a fork pull out the meat and eat
Who
it
are
with
you
a fork,
kidding?
dipping
You
it in the
don't eat
butter.
lobster.
I don't eat lobster?
No, I've never seen you eat a lobster.
We don't have lobster here.
I wasn't going to say that part.
If lobster was here, I'd eat it. I had it, actually, I've had, the best lobster I've had was in Charlotte at Capitol Grill. They had lobster that was from Africa, and it was really sweet. It was really, really good. And they cracked it for me.
Ashley says, well, first of all, Buddy says Wonder Balls are chocolate with little candy pieces inside. Ashley said she eats ice cream with a fork and her husband Ted can't stand it. I understand. That's weird. That's strange. How did that happen exactly?
Eat what with a knife and fork?
Ice cream.
That's weird. How hard is this ice cream that a knife needs to go through it? Like, is it a super freezer?
You must eat very fast, because if I'm eating, if I had to use a knife and fork and my unskilledness,
That's really interesting.
it would not work with a knife and a fork for very long.
Becca wants to know that if we had stayed for dinner the other night, would I have eaten the Boston butt barbecue sandwich with a knife and fork? Absolutely, I would have.
Sandwich?
Yeah. I'm not picking that up. That'll drip everywhere. So I'll cut it with a knife and a fork.
No, you're missing out.
My
you know,
clothes are missing out of the barbecue.
Certain textures and combinations that you can only get when you put that sandwich up to your mouth and you breathe in this. Do you know that a lot of our eating has to do with smell, and you're missing the smell?
Because the thing I need to do more right now in my life is eat. I feel like I'm helping myself.
We're helping so many people put on Rona weight today. It's ridiculous. But we're in it now, so we're just going for it.
I really think that it started when I had braces, because like I said, I had braces for 7 years. So I didn't bite a lot with my front teeth because they'd get stuck in there, so I'd eat it with a knife.
So what
and
you're
fork.
telling me is we're back to dental hygienists are evil, because
Accurate.
they've told us to go get braces, which then ruins the rest of our eating future.
Accurate.
And sets horrible habits to not enjoy good
Accurate.
food in this world.
Accurate.
Dental hygienists, it's like mosquitoes, they're evil.
I used to bite mine. I was put on lists, I'm pretty sure.
They're the blame for every negative thing we're gonna blame it
Satan,
on dental hygienists.
Dental hygienists.
Yeah, mosquitoes next.
Marky asked me if I eat donuts with a knife and a fork. I don't often, but I have. Again, it depends on the size and the warmth of them, and if they're covered in frosting or if it's mostly just dough. I don't want to get gross. I ruined a lot of clothes as a kid by just scarfing the food down, so I learned how to do it in a neater way, so I stopped ruining my clothes. There are processes. I'm not saying I'm right. I understand how I got to be where I am right now.
Like the barbecue sandwich at Cookout. You know, the barbecue sandwich
I've
that
never
comes
eaten
with you've not had, that's like a great barbecue
I've had the
sandwich.
barbecue, but I've not had their
Now,
sandwich.
you got to get the barbecue sandwich, because it's like the perfect amount of barbecue juice and slaw juice, and then they put the Texas Pete on it, and it's like the perfect percentages to give you just the right taste. But you can't do that with a fork. You got to pick the thing up.
Marky asked what kids care if their clothes are ruined.
No, you cannot ignore what I just said. I know that it was very quickly you jumped to the next comment. No, you cannot shoot over that like it didn't happen. No, you have to experience
Someday, everybody, I will take a video of myself eating a barbecue sandwich. I'll let the food drip all over me, and it'll be great. It'll be great. I can't promise it's going to be today,
Marky, which question were you going to ask? The donuts one?
She asked both.
I know. Which one were you about to read?
Oh, I was going to answer the kids, if the kids cared if their clothes were ruined.
Yeah, what kid cares about that?
I did because my parents cared, and I became aware of it after I got spanked a few times. So I became more cautious with what I was doing.
Hashtag I love Barat. She needs some love right now.
This is where it's good to be Barat, because I've really started to develop like a thick skin for these things. After so many years of being teased, you just learn to embrace it and roll, and it's good.
This is not teasing.
This isn't.
This is not teasing.
Nope.
This is just family love.
It's true. It's true. And I'm good. Can we
Ashley, to Chips.
Yes.
We'll get back there. Chip.
We're just not happening with Chips today.
Well, we'll get there. Ashley says, do we eat slaw on our barbecue sandwiches? Yes, Ashley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Slaw on hot dogs, too. Hot dogs is what I'll eat with my hands, because all the mess is contained inside of the bun.
Not if it's made right.
Well, I've apparently not had one that's made right.
All right, so Ashley says they eat pickles, not slaw, on their barbecue.
I've seen, like, that's like relish.
Relish, I get.
How is that different?
Relish is more of chopped up and blended, and it might have some stuff added to it. Yeah.
I would be more.
All right, so when we think pickles here, we're not thinking sweet pickles, which a lot of times is what relish is coming around. We're thinking dill pickles here.
Because that's the only type of
so
pickle.
when you say pickles, I don't think sweet pickles or relish.
I think I've had dill pickle on barbecue before. I like dill pickle on pretty much everything. So I would eat that.
Jade, you said, did you eat like Oliver and queso? Not sure.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Oliver gets really
that.
messy. Oh. When I was a little kid, did I eat like Oliver and queso? No, I think it wasn't necessarily when I was little. I think it's as I got older and my clothes got more expensive, and I just was not being wise with what I was doing. So I just get stuff everywhere and would stain it. And I just didn't like having stains on my clothes. It was a good mix of my personal preference and also making sure that I was taking care of what my parents had paid for, being a good steward.
Rebecca said that's why it's called finger licking good. And it's true. It's beyond you worrying about a mess anymore because it's so good.
I don't know if I've ever hit that point.
And Ashley said sliced dill pickles.
Yeah.
I would be willing to try that.
I bet
because I like pickles.
I bet it's really good if it's not just if it has like a sweet barbecue sauce on it, because then it goes back to the salty and sweet thing together, like dill with.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good.
So it's weird. My mom says, and on our hot dogs, laugh out loud, true P. Bryan for Pastor Bryan. It's still weird for me, for my mom. Like, that's good that she did that, but it's weird for me that she's like Pastor Bryan. Like, it's always just been Bryan. Really, it was more like Bryan. That was more, I still hear that. But so on a hot dog.
On a hot dog.
There is a combination that I grew to love. It was like something special to me. Kevin, you're supposed to be on a plane. The real question is ketchup on hot dogs or not.
I bet Kevin paid for the internet so he can hang out with us today. I bet he did.
Are
Way to be here, Kevin.
Are you that loyal, Kevin, that you paid for internet on the plane so you can hang out?
We'll try to figure out a way to make you a top fan forever if that's what you did.
My mom said, okay, boy.
That is also a comment that makes me uncomfortable.
I was going to say, you just made everybody uncomfortable that has any. All right, so I would go to when Nicole and I had no money to speak of whatsoever. We were in poverty.
Po.
We was po. I would go to the gas station, and of course they would have hot dogs for people that were stopping in the middle of work, traveling down the road, stuff like that. And they would, you'd grab a bun, get the hot dog, and then they would have like this, they would have chili and slaw and onions there. And you don't go to the place that everything looks horrible. You want a place that actually sells a few hot dogs. That's the ones you're looking for.
Want me to make you a hot dog
Yeah.
in the back?
Want me to make you a hot dog? You'll be my first customer today.
You want to be my friend?
No, I don't, actually. What did you say?
You want to be my friend?
Man,
Took it one extra step, and
Yeah.
that extra step took us to a new place.
that derailed that conversation right there. Thanks. But anyway, so a lot of times in the gas stations here, they would have a certain kind of chili and a certain kind of slaw that had just a little bit of sweetness to it because it was processed. It wasn't.
slaw?
Yeah, it was white slaw, but a little bit of sweetness to it. I didn't like it if it was very sweet, but just a touch of that. So because that slaw was sold and it was very common, it became the thing that I like. So one stripe of mustard, put on chili, then you put slaw or chili, then onions, and then slaw will kind of keep it all packed in there. And I grew to adore that. And there's one restaurant in town that makes it like that, and I always want to go there.
I understand why you like that restaurant now. I understand.
Which one?
Pennies?
Yep. So
It would always surprise me when you'd want to go because you're the only person I know who
that's
eats
why,
there.
yeah. And it's, well, I mean, I think they have other good
Other
food.
people do, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think they have other good food, but I like that hot dog, and nobody else makes a hot dog like that. And it was, even though it was not like a quality food, it was such a period of our life, and it brings back memories, and it also reminds me where we came from. And so there's nothing but good surrounding that hot dog. So.
Hot dogs were never a big thing up north. As far as like making it that fancy. Up north, and Marky, correct me if I'm wrong, because Marky's from Maine too. Up north, they have red hot dogs. They're called
Yes.
red hots.
Yeah.
And the red hot dogs
You
were
got
pretty
Marky's
much,
attention,
Sure
like
did.
she's yelling from the back right now.
Yes, they do.
I thought I heard a hallelujah.
Do you see her cartwheel back there? My gracious. But they didn't put, where I was anyway, there was nothing extra really put on the hot dog. It was pretty much just standalone, mustard or ketchup maybe, but
Yeah.
that's all it was. And so fancy hot dogs were what I experienced when I moved here. And I was like, what do you mean
yeah.
you put things on
You
hot
put
dogs?
other stuff on the hot dogs besides that?
That's like somebody putting coleslaw on a burger. I'd never seen that till I moved here.
Really?
Yes, I'd never seen that.
Well, we have talked about that. So a lot of the foods, especially it seems like the further up north you go, the less flavor they have. They're more bland foods, and that's not us.
Meat and potatoes.
That's not us. So Buddy said, or what about ketchup? He says,
Marky.
I like ketchup, mustard, and onion on a hot dog, either that or chili, cheese, and bacon. Those are good combinations. My go-to is mustard, onion, chili, and slaw. That's what's called a Carolina-style hot dog, and they have that at Cookout, Carolina-style. But if I get ketchup on the hot dog, I only get it. I generally will just get ketchup and mustard, and that'll be it, like what you're talking about. I want it if I want it that way. Now on a burger, I like Carolina style on a burger, again, mustard, onion, chili, and slaw. Or I like a burger with lettuce. You know, it always has to have cheese, but lettuce and cheese. And then I like kind of the ketchup and mayonnaise mix, like the tartar sauce type, like the Big Mac sauce. I like that, but.
I've never been a tartar sauce person.
Ollie, gas station hot dogs are gross.
Marky, that's so true. Until I think you and I have talked about it before, but I forgot. Up north, there are special hot dog styles where they're flat on the sides, and I've not seen them down here.
Yeah, I've seen
That's
those.
true.
I don't know that I've had one. Abigail likes the fake nacho cheese. George says Chicago has great hot dogs, and they have good pizza too. I had my
George
first
came alive.
deep dish pizza, and it was, I enjoyed it because it had a lot of red sauce. I like sauce and cheese.
Oh my gracious. When George and I went to Chicago, their pizza, At that point, I was counting calories. I think a slice of their pizza was like
Oops.
800 calories. I'm like, well, guess I'm not on this vacation.
I just looked at that pizza and I finished out my calories for today.
What was unfortunate is I couldn't fit through the door, but I finished that pizza. Boy, howdy. It was great.
Okay. Chips.
Chips.
Let's ask them questions
Yes.
we'll ask them as we're asking.
Okay, what are your favorite chips? And I understand this could have different caveats. Like, I like certain chips if I'm road tripping. I like certain chips accompanied with food. Like, I have a certain, and this does not include popcorn. We just had a conversation about popcorn.
I understand that about the different chips.
So if you're like Marky and you're going on a 30-minute road trip and you need 12 bags of chips, what are the ones that you're going to grab?
If you could only grab 2.
Yes. If you can only have 2, what are your chips? Go.
George said you can only eat deep dish pizza with a fork.
I did.
Okay. Yeah.
And I did.
I was going to say, how else would you eat it? Because the one that I had was, it was practically impossible to get that thing wrangled. Your
child is very particular. She doesn't want to buy them. She only wants homemade potato chips with homemade ranch.
She needs to get to making them.
Sounds like you got a project.
Yeah, thanks for laying yourself out there. Okay, so let's look at some of these.
Johnny says sour cream and onion and Doritos. But what kind of Doritos?
Marky said Takis.
I don't know as though I've had those.
They're like a light chip.
Are they still in the triangle though?
Yeah, I
okay.
think so.
Am I thinking Pocky? Is there a Taki and a Pocky?
I don't know. Maybe I've had a different one.
I think I got you a ghost pepper one that was like PAQI or something like that.
I don't know. Priscilla said Lay's potato, cheddar, Ruffles, and Doritos.
Okay, so let me get more specific. You need to put what kind of Doritos, and you need to put what kind of like Lay's things, because brands like Doritos.
But you have to know
bunch.
when you say Doritos that it is automatically the nacho cheese one.
No, it's not.
No. It is if that's all you say. If you don't say, something else like Cool Ranch, then it automatically, because, see, for your generation.
My generation.
Yeah, your generation.
My generation.
You people.
My people that gave you all these different varieties
had
of
options
Doritos.
when you grew up. We had no options. There was only one. See, as soon as I say that, Priscilla goes, if I say Doritos, it's nacho cheese, because there was no other option. Now, they came in later, but when I was little, no option. Everything was simple. Now we have options for everything.
We do. We like to.
Not that options are bad.
My generation wants to give your generation the different flavors that you missed out on throughout your childhood.
I don't mind that. But understand that when you're defining Doritos, it is nacho cheese flavor is what they mean.
Your mom gave a great decision. Lime nacho chips. Are you talking about what's the brand of it? Where do the tortillas?
A lot of them make that. They'll do a hint of lime on just the tortilla chips.
What's the Tostitos ones? The Tostitos lime ones are
Some of them
good.
are too strong, I think. But Arabella says barbecue chips and Funyuns. I like Funyuns. I like barbecue too.
What are your two?
Abigail, I don't know. Lay's biscuits and gravy, which I think grossed out other people. Holly says wavy or rippled sour cream and onion. I wonder, is Ashley still with us, and how's that helping her lunch, or has she caved yet? Have you made a trip to the pantry yet? All right, so put it in the comments right now if you have already made a trip to the pantry while you've been watching What's Right Today. Give us a thumbs up. If you've cracked a bag of popcorn and candy in the video booth, give us a thumbs up. Or if you haven't, if you stood strong, you've been in Oak, you haven't made the run to the pantry yet, give us a thumbs down. All right, so Johnny, sour cream and onion and Doritos. See? Doritos. I know what he's talking about.
He then specified and said what kind of Doritos after I asked him to, because he loves me too.
because there's only one. When he says Doritos, it's one. Buddy, spicy Doritos and Cheez-Its.
Marky says, I broke Abby.
She caved. That's awesome. Buddy, Cheez-Its, not cheese nips. Hey, well played, sir. Priscilla Rogers, TGIF potato skins. I think those are horrible for you. Like, they are loaded with stuff you don't like. Not necessarily just bad, just they're like, I think they're like double calories each one or something. But they taste good. Lime nachos chips, nacho cheese Doritos is what
Buddy,
Johnny said.
Good call. Spicy Doritos. Good call, buddy.
Marky says chips with fake nacho cheese. I'm with you. I like nacho cheese. You know what I don't like? Like, I don't like when you get nachos and cheese and they hand you the little container of cheese.
I'm that person.
You what? That likes the container?
Absolutely. Because I don't want to eat the cheese. I want to make my own cheese on top of it. I don't want to
Just
eat the
get
processed
chips.
one. I typically do.
Yeah.
But I'd prefer it on the side if I'm going to dip it. I don't want it all over.
Well, I don't mind if they put it in the little cup, but I want the cheese that comes out of the machine, not the one that comes in the cup.
Ugh.
It's different. Cheese lovers unite. Show her. Tell her. It's different. It's different. Put it in the comments. It's different.
I like me some cheese, but that's not cheese. That's chemicals that have been flavored to taste
What,
like
you
cheese.
think the cheese in the cup is not?
I don't eat the cheese in the cup. Like, when I go to Taco Bell, I do not eat the cheese. I'll typically ask for it on the side. Like with the nacho fries, I'll throw the cheese
Then
away.
you just want tortilla chips.
I do.
That's
With
not
salsa.
nachos.
I never said I wanted nachos. I'm saying if I ever have it presented to me, if it's not real cheese, I don't want it. I will eat it. Now, here's the caveat. I will eat these things. I'm saying for my preference. I am a good steward
When you
when I go
started
to
that, I
someone's
wanted
home.
to say, oh, here we go now.
Here we go, here we go,
Here we go.
again.
I will eat it.
I will.
Priscilla, regular Lay's potato chips, cheddar ruffles, nacho cheese Doritos. Mom, y'all have fun, have company for lunch. By the way, I'm hungry. Well, look, just tell your company to just get hungry with us. Jade, not chips, but do you remember green and purple ketchup? I think I do.
We just had this conversation the other day.
That was not a smart decision.
Kevin and Serena are on my side with the nacho cheese. I feel heard and understood.
I'm not there yet in my comments, so you got to wait till I get there.
I'll wait. Marky gets very aggressive, so I'll wait.
She gets aggressive,
She
does. Jade, and chips that are thebomb.com, zesty ranch veggie straws. I like the veggie straws. Rebecca, nacho cheese Doritos and Lay's barbecue chips. Ashley, I'm here, and yes. What was the question? Was the yes I went?
If it was hard to.
Was the yes I did go to the pantry, or I didn't? I think she went to the pantry. Yeah, there it is. I'm blaming Barat on my eating a piece of dark chocolate sea salt caramel.
Who said that?
Ashley, it's on YouTube.
Oh, I'll get on Restream right now.
Chat. All right, so Marky, she has caved and gotten food. Arabella, she's gotten food. Abigail, she's gotten food. Barrett, you've not, because neither one of us have, because we're sitting here talking about food. See, we're paying a price for you today.
We are serving you.
We are paying a price for
Lord,
your joy
Lord, I
and
receive it
comfort
double.
food.
Let it come double.
We are sowing. Amen.
Sure.
We are sowing. Let it be repaid,
Amen.
pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Chips,
feel the
candy,
Holy Ghost on
popcorn. Hallelujah.
Absolutely.
All right. Marky, I broke Abby. Priscilla, I don't have any snacks before me, but I'm looking forward to lunch. Me too, Priscilla. Let's see. Kevin, he's not had it. That's because you're on a plane. Rebecca, otherwise, it would have been thumbs up.
Because you're on a plane.
Rebecca, nope. I'm impressed, Rebecca. She's probably being pinned down by her baby.
Accurate.
Holly, nope. She's at work. You notice all these nopes. I'm like, there's a reason.
It's not because you're choosing to. You don't have this option.
Arabella, I got hungry, so I got up and made lunch. Whatever you do, don't eat Cheez-It snapped. Oh, we're into the holy cow, I missed a bunch of these comments. All right. It's different, the different cheeses. Abigail, it's different. What? They are so good. Cheez-It snapped are so good. I don't know what those are.
I don't know what those are either.
Oh, is that the thinner snaps? The
Maybe.
Thinner, okay, I think I know.
Well, but I'm going to pause you really quickly. Do you remember Munchums? Do you remember those
I remember
crackers?
the name.
They were in a blue box,
Yeah.
and they were cheesy, and then they rebranded and totally changed the recipe. But that was my childhood cracker growing up until they changed it. Munchums were great.
I don't know if I ever had them, but I think I remember the name. Rebecca says she has to change her answer to Marcus. She loves some chips and cheese and salsa. When I crave like a snack food, a lot of times it's cheese and salt or chips and salsa or
Amen.
chips and cheese. A lot of time.
Amen.
No cheese products for Barrett. Kevin, queso cheese rocks. Yellow nacho cheese is nasty. No, Kevin.
No, Kevin.
No. Ashley on YouTube, they're so good you'll eat the whole bag. The jalapeno ones. Jade says truth. And George, and this is why picking dinner can be opportunistic.
It's true.
Ashley said, I don't buy them anymore.
Did you see Marky's very aggressive comment in all caps? What if I like eating chemicals? It's
Oh,
not a
yeah,
chemicals comment.
that was.
A very aggressive one.
Rebecca said, yes, Pastor, and that Justin is super smart to have us not keep chips in the house for this reason, because we'd gobble them up. I understand.
Kevin? Kevin says Cheez-Its are horrible. Kevin?
Kevin?
No. The Pepper Jack Cheez-Its are great.
Ooh, until you buy them in a gas station that had them sitting on the shelf for over a year, and then that doesn't end well. Speaking for a friend.
I agree, Abigail. Chips and queso is the ultimate snack. Johnny says pizza rolls. How did we get to pizza rolls? We were at chips, and now Johnny's taking it to snack time.
I like pizza roll. Holly says, I'm hungry. A big cheeseburger is what I'm craving with homemade fries. Preach, Holly. Preach it.
Are you a sweet potato fry person? Sweet potato?
I like them.
Okay, what if you got to pick one kind of fry? What kind of fry would you get of any fry that exists? Like shoestring?
George Markell, stunt your growth. If I had to choose a fry, well, here's what I don't like. This is going to sound funny. I don't like potato-y tasting fries. So if it is a thick fry,
With more potato ratio?
Yeah, I don't like that.
So not potato wedges. Those aren't your jam.
No.
More shoestring?
I don't like them crunchy all the way through.
Crinkle cut?
Those are okay, but a lot of times the crinkle cut still are potatoey because they'll cook. If they are potatoey, any potatoey taste in there, I don't really like that. But
Marky, you need to calm down in the sound booth. Marky, in all caps, has responded to George. I stopped growing 10 years ago, but thanks for your concern. That's pretty much how I read it.
Deb Malberg Aldridge, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
McDonald's fries, hands down. I'm with you. And until they stopped putting salt on them because that was garbage.
So I think McDonald's fries are the best.
Yeah.
But I really like curly fries. So if curly fries are ever an option, I'm going to pick curly fries over McDonald's fries.
I like curly fries as long as they're cooked all the way through.
Yes.
But I have to say, like McDonald's fries, there's another, actually Burger King's fries, the new ones that they came out with, I like those too.
Yep, those are good ones.
But I don't want to go to the place where they're completely cooked all the way through and it's like snaps when you bite into it.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Deb likes that. She says, crunchier the better. I do like tater tots. I like the.
Prill wanted to know about tater tots versus fries. That's where
So
they came from.
back to the chips. I do like chips and salsa.
Yeah.
I like the crunchy and the salty is what I find that I crave. But he says Chick-fil-A waffle fries are the greatest of all time. So waffle fries have grown on me, but they're not my favorite because they're potato-y a lot of times. But they have grown on me. But
I could do without those. Like those wouldn't be in something I'd choose for myself.
that's funny. Deb, Hardee's hot ham and cheese, McDonald's fries, Wendy's Frosty. Best meal ever.
Steven, I think for one of either her anniversary or her birthday last year, I think, took her to all of her different fast food places to give her her best meal ever.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's awesome.
I could be wrong.
Ashley
I think so.
says thin tortilla chips or regular tortilla chips.
Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. And I like thin, but I would always choose the thick. The thin are not, they're not that I don't like them, but I like the thicker. And the reason is because I don't want them to break.
They're not good
Yeah.
scooping chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and I like stuff on my chips.
Yep.
You know, on my tortilla chips. Regular chips, Abigail, can you think of a regular chip that I like? I like Doritos, okay, but what else would be most of the time it's tortilla chips and salsa is my go-to, but. You don't like the bowl tortillas? No, yeah, the scoops. I don't like those that much. Just simply because they're hard to dip into the bowl and not get stuff on my fingers.
Marky Eleanor.
I would not, so going back to your finger and eating food with your hands, I would not, I would hate it when we would have chicken at home because I didn't want to use my hands and I didn't want to have to work for my food.
Like fried chicken, you mean?
Yeah, I didn't want to work for my food. So, and that carried on into being an adult. But at some point, as an adult, that changed a little bit. So I don't mind it now.
There's hope.
Yeah.
You hear that, George? There's hope. Did you see Marky? Marky, I tell you what, Marky is like come alive in the sound booth. We talk about food, and Marky's lit up. In response to Buddy, Chick-fil-A waffle fries are the G-O-A-T. Marky comes back, and Jesus is the L-A-M-B. And just like that, Christian gangster Marky was born.
I was just picturing how totally we need to get, what's the shades that they put on there, gangster shades on Marky.
Absolutely. I learned how to make memes of Marky the other day. I can include those.
Please do.
Absolutely. No, I think mine would probably be Cool Ranch Doritos. Always. Like
That's Nicole's.
That's my top. And then if we're including Cheez-Its in this, then Pepper Jack Cheez-Its.
Cool. Those are good.
If that gets included, then
those are good. I like that. I like anything with a little bit of spice. I will say, okay, so for a chip that got my attention, the Lay's, I think it was, Lay's Green Verde tortilla chip that Paul and I found in the Philippines.
I wondered if you were going to say that.
We stocked up before we came home and brought them back, and I was very disappointed when I ate the last bite of it. Those were good. I immediately got home and looked on Amazon because I couldn't find them anywhere, and they're not available in the U.S., and I'm disappointed that our Philippines trip was canceled this year because of stupid Rona, and I can't get my tortilla chips. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Those are good. Marky, buffalo pretzel chips. Those are good. So, all right, question for you. Milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Oh, no. It's happened. I don't know the answer.
Milk chocolate or dark chocolate? For me, without question, milk chocolate. For Nicole, dark chocolate.
I think mine is milk chocolate.
Yeah.
I think...
Is Kevin Nowicki still with us? Are you still in the airplane?
Marky, your caps lock man. Your caps lock is really intense.
She's intense on this food.
She says this is how she normally communicates, so we're getting to
Deb,
see the real her.
Both.
Okay, Switzerland. George says barbecue chips, almost any type or brand. Doritos, salt and vinegar, kettle chips. Yeah, I think I like milk chocolate better in pretty much everything.
Actually, I love all chocolate equally.
You do not discriminate against any particular.
What Deb says, dark depends on the percentage. What percent? What percent, Deb?
I think I like dark chocolate if it's got salt, like salted caramel or something like that to help cut that back. But if I'm just eating it on its own, I don't want dark chocolate. Dark chocolate.
Most people, surprisingly, are saying milk.
Dark chocolate is like getting a hug with a punch in the face. Marky Eleanor Dottie Dunphy has some strong opinions
That's
about
funny.
food.
Rebecca, all chocolates matter. That's funny.
Becca.
That's really funny. Ashley says dark is the best.
You know what kind of chocolate I happily discriminate against? White chocolate. White chocolate is nasty. I think that's disgusting. Even in like peppermint bark, I don't want it to be white chocolate. I want it to be chocolate.
I should have put white chocolate as an option. Is anybody out there that likes white chocolate above dark chocolate?
And explain to me why.
Deb says above 85% can get bitter.
Yeah.
Buddy says milk. Buddy says, I say milk. Serena has eaten 4 dark chocolates since we started the broadcast.
Buddy putting his wife on blast.
Marky, white Reese's are my favorite. Huh. Ashley, white chocolate isn't real chocolate.
Okay, now, Marky, that's a good point. White Reese's really are the best Reese's, in my opinion, too. But I feel like the ratio of peanut butter to chocolate is very, very thin. So I'm getting more peanut butter than chocolate, and I can't taste it. However, in Hershey's cookies and cream chocolate bar, there's more cookie to white chocolate, but the white chocolate still leaves like a weird plasticky film on the top of my mouth. And I don't like that. Like, I feel like white chocolate is wax with vanilla flavoring.
Everything about your food has to do with your touch
Yep.
and your feel and texture.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Texture does have a lot to do with food. That's why I don't like tomatoes. I don't like the texture of tomatoes unless they're blended in a blender and made into a sauce. Ashley says white chocolate is Ted's favorite. So here's a question for white chocolate lovers. Do you know what a zero bar is, and do you like it?
I had never heard of it until recently.
Really?
Mm-mm.
You know what's interesting is, let's go wholly with all of this,
Here we go.
is we've talked for an hour and a half about food, but many people have a very hard time talking an hour and a half about Jesus. Mm-hmm. What does that say? That's a joke, but
Not really.
there's a lot of truth to that.
We've hit over 100 comments very, very quickly talking about food.
We're way, this will be our highest commented show. Who knew? All we had to do was talk about food.
It's true, Deb. I know there's wax in Hershey's chocolate, but the milk chocolate tastes better, so they conceal it better with the milk chocolate. Yeah, Johnny, I'm with you. White chocolate can be too sweet.
Ashley said, Barat is a texture eater.
I am. I am. I really, and you know, I think that may be why I use a knife and fork more, is because there are a few things I want to actually bite my teeth into because of how it feels. There's few things that I can think of where I'm like, yeah, that would be great.
Okay, got another question. All right, so Marky. had a sandwich, a little candy, popcorn. I'm still hungry. Thanks.
Did you have your buffalo chicken sandwich from yesterday? No, it's a new one.
Dear Marky, nobody's surprised. And that's my favorite Marky face right there.
What was your other question?
I forgot.
Should mint be included with chocolate? Absolutely.
My favorite ice cream growing up was mint chocolate chip.
Me too.
Yeah, that was my favorite. And Zero Bar was my favorite when I was a little kid. Ashley says, y'all are an hour ahead of us and you're talking about food at lunchtime. Laugh out loud. So,
Look, George, that's why I use a knife and a fork, because I don't want to use my hands. Unless it's chips and salsa, because that typically doesn't get too messy.
Man, what was that question? It was a good one. I was going to ask y'all what you liked on something, but I forget what it is.
Let's see. We've done candy, types of popcorn, chips. We've gone into snack food, kind of. We've touched in that. What's your go-to snack food, everybody? What's that? Like, you're at home, it's 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. What are you going to grab for a snack?
Buddy, the person who would be king will never mix mint with dessert.
Whatever, buddy.
Julie, she says she still loves mint chip ice cream. My favorite cake growing up was a mint chocolate chip ice cream cake from Baskin Robbins before they changed. And some people will know this. Raise your hand if you know this. Before they changed the icing flavor, because originally the icing flavor had a very distinct taste to it, and it was so good to me. But then they changed it, and it's so not good.
Maine did not have Baskin Robbins where I lived. We were good if we had Dairy Queen, and we had to drive 2.5 hours to get it. I think. I'm pretty confident in that assessment. No surprise to anybody, ice cream cake was not my favorite. You know why? Because the texture was weird.
Shocking.
I know. Big surprise. Big surprise, everybody. Big reveal. I've started to like it now, though. I think I only have it on Rachel's birthday. I can't think of another time throughout the year that I have ice cream cake. I don't mind it. I wouldn't choose it, but I don't mind it.
Marky's comments during food broadcasts are the best. Mint ice cream makes me feel like I can breathe ice. Oh, that was the question. Okay.
Can you breathe ice?
No.
Marky can.
No, but that reminded me. All right, here's the question. When you have ice cream on a cone.
Does the cone type matter?
Well, that's a whole nother question. Can you bite the ice cream with your teeth?
No.
Can you bite?
Not.
Put yes, I can bite ice cream with my teeth, or no, I can't.
No, I cannot. No. I can't bite popsicles. I can't bite ice cream. No.
When I was little, I couldn't, but I can now. I'm very happy about that because it expanded my ability to eat ice cream.
I might be able to do it with my, like if I could somehow nom on an ice cream cone with my back teeth, I might be able to do it. But again, braces and super sensitive front teeth makes biting into ice cream cones really interesting.
Abigail, what'd you say? No way? You can't bite into ice cream? I wasn't sure if you were responding to that or something else.
Yeah.
It hurt when I was little, but it doesn't now.
Marky says it depends.
There is a way, I did figure out a way that, like if you just sink your teeth into the ice cream, that can hurt. But if you'll kind of, almost like an excavator, pull it off, then that's the difference.
I'm really curious, why are you wanting to bite your ice cream cones? Like, I want the ice cream to last as long as possible, and if I bite it, it's over quicker.
Well, here's the question. When you have candy, do you chew it up?
It depends on the type of candy. Gummy worms, I don't.
Ask me if I do and what percentage.
Do you?
Yes, 100%.
So you're one that just wants to make the ice cream go quickly?
No, not necessarily, but it's probably a habit of that. Do you ask me why I want to?
Why do you
This
want
is
to?
a scientific answer. You ready?
Because your brothers and sisters would take it away.
No. It's got nothing to do with that. When you chew up candy, you are breaking that into a lot of smaller pieces, right? And when you break it up into smaller pieces, there is a lot more surface area, so the flavor is an explosion instead of a small leak. Scientifically, I like flavor explosions.
This is another example of how very different.
I knew. That's why I was telling you to ask me.
I was the one who wanted to make it last for as long as possible.
Who knew that you could watch What's Right today and find out how to have flavor explosions by chewing up your candy? It's true. This is how my brain thinks.
Yep. I like to make it last as long as I can. So I found ways, like even when I was little and my brother and I had the same candy, I wanted my candy to last longer than his. So I'd learn how to eat it so it would last longer.
Would you, Abigail, favorite quote of the day, scientifically, I like flavor explosions. That's a great quote.
Absolutely.
So here's how I make the flavor last as long and still have flavor explosions. You ready?
Yes.
Scientifically. Eat more of them. Keep eating them.
Oh, boy. Marky is very excited. She says she may bite it for a bigger bite if she's excited about the ice cream.
Ooh, Johnny.
I want to see Marky excited about food. It's one of my favorite things to watch is when Marky gets very excited about her food.
I feel like anything I go to eat for lunch at this point, if it's not already pre-prepared for me, is going to be dangerous today because I am super hungry.
I'm just imagining like going through all the drive-thrus in town. So I'd like to go to Sonic first and then Cookout after and then just kick by Penny's a little bit.
Johnny says molten chocolate cake.
George likes that.
I do too.
You're a hot fudge person.
I like
aren't
hot
you?
fudge. I do. So that's a chocolate that gets me. Yeah.
I don't mind hot fudge. I don't think it's my favorite though. I don't know the last time
I would
eaten
take hot fudge over like the chocolate syrup every time.
Yes.
Every time.
Absolutely.
You know, everybody, you want chocolate? No, I want hot fudge on my ice cream. Without question.
Do you like regular fudge?
It's okay. When I was little, I loved it, but now it's almost too sweet, which sounds horrible to even think that way, but yeah.
I like fudge when it's cold. I don't want it to be room temperature. I want it to be cold.
I can kind of see that, and the reason is because you don't like it sticky on your fingers.
I think it has a better texture when you bite into it. It's not as soft.
Texture.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got to do with that.
Yep.
I get that though. I could agree with that. I think it'd be better.
But are you okay? So weird dessert time. Are you a Jell-O and pudding person?
Yeah, because I grew up on it.
George is too. Interesting.
One of my favorite is the pistachio pudding, the green
Really?
pudding. I like it a lot.
Do you like pistachio ice cream?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
That's different. What was the ice cream we were talking about the other day, Marky? The weird one that your dad likes?
Oh,
Grape nut. That's what it was. Grape nut ice cream. Gifford's grape nut. That was a weird one.
Marky.
It does. I'm not just going to settle for any food, Marky. If it doesn't hit my standards,
Marky
I'm not
says,
gonna eat it.
it sounds like food has to jump through some hoops for Barat.
I have some high standards, you know. George actually says this a lot of times. Like, we'll go out to eat, and he'll ask me if I like my food, and I'll be like, it was okay. It was fine. I often like food I make, and I have certain people whose food I really enjoy, and certain restaurants I really enjoy. But a lot of times I'll be like, I could do that differently. I think I could make that in a way I'd like it better.
Deb says, cha-cha poop. Whoa.
I don't know what
I
that
didn't see
means.
that. I just saw P and I thought it said pudding. Cha-cha poo-poo. That's how they said chocolate pudding as kids. We had a pudding in a cloud.
Johnny.
Wow.
Johnny knows me.
Strawberry rhubarb pie. I'll go for, yeah. I like cobblers.
Yeah, I like cobblers.
I'm a big fan of cobblers.
What kind of cobbler? Like, if you had to pick one for Pastor and Cole to make you.
Peach.
Me too!
Yep.
Peach cobbler is
Yep.
great.
Peach.
George, you hear that? It's not just me. No, and see, here's the difference, Bex. Like, I'll eat anything. Like,
Becca,
I'm just
you got to
saying.
tell, because there's people on YouTube that aren't seeing that. You got to tell them
Okay.
what she said.
Becca says that she's a little bit nervous to cook dinner for me. I'll eat anybody's food. Like it says in the word that it's important to eat what's prepared before you. So I'll eat it. I've eaten gross stuff. I've eaten stuff I enjoy. But if I'm selecting what I'm eating, then I have standards for what I select and put in my mouth that I create.
That's a great question, Johnny. Fresh peaches or canned?
Fresh.
And I like both for different reasons. I like the canned because they generally come in the sugary sauce, and I like processed sugar. And but I like them when they're fresh as well. But all right, so what's the most gross thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, here we go.
Most gross thing you've ever
Abigail,
eaten.
do you want to come share your story?
What I'm really wondering is what people that aren't commenting actually came onto the broadcast and they're sitting there watching, and what are they thinking? Like while they're quietly watching.
Don't be a ghost just sitting in the corner. Like answer, comment, join in.
Like,
Marky's yelled at us during the broadcast. You're good to go.
I really imagine that somebody that hasn't been on the What's Right family or doesn't go to Boomerang Church, I really imagine they're sitting there going, these are my people, or these people have lost their mind, one or the other.
We have that happen on Sundays, so I mean, just welcome to the
We're
club.
good.
Okay, so Deb says that George says that he's laughing at Becca's comment about food jumping through hoops. It does, and it's okay. I think it was Marky's comment, but.
Johnny, chocolate-covered
sure
grasshoppers and scorpions.
Marky.
Where was that at, Johnny?
Marky is throwing shade today. Like Marky's in the sound booth, hiding behind her computer.
I know, you talk about
typing.
You talk about food. Abigail.
Gravy.
You know, we did not go back to Abigail's story earlier.
Abby has eaten poop. That was a pretty gross thing.
Yes, she has. I can verify this.
Look at you being open with your stories today.
Yeah, that was good. Very glass house, Abigail. You get a glass house badge.
I really don't want to explain to anybody whether it was human poop or animal poop. You're just going to have to guess. Come meet Abigail and find out for yourself.
Sour cream and onion crickets. He wasn't even here for that episode. We had him here too, buddy. It was awesome.
I didn't care for those ones, but the salt and vinegar ones weren't bad.
No, they were all not bad. It was more mental. But Johnny says he had that in Qatar. All right, Johnny, is it Qatar or Qatar?
I really hope it's Qatar.
It's actually, I've already researched it because these are important things.
Have you really?
Mm-hmm.
Why have you researched that?
Because we wanted to know. Inquiring minds.
But whatever made you think of, I want to know how to pronounce this that's been said?
Because I heard it both ways, and now I want to know.
I've just never...
I'm a trivia person. I like trivia.
I do too. I've just never... I don't know as though I've ever seen that word before, so I was curious, like, if it's something that I just didn't know about that is a commonly talked about thing that I'm discovering right now, or?
Yeah. No, it's something that actually is talked about quite a bit. There's articles on it.
Interesting. Becca says that she ate cat food as a kid. I can see that. Abby says that eating poop built character. That's good, baby.
Rebecca's eyes towards Abigail. What? Big eyes. Priscilla, food I don't like, cow's tongue. It's Mexican. The names puts people off. Johnny says it's Qatar, not Qatar. That's how they pronounced it when you were there. There's people pronouncing it otherwise now is the issue. It's basically 50-50. And I think it has to do with the generation, and it's like a social, like where you come from, regions, and how you look at it. One of them, if I remember correctly, one way makes it kind of seem more high society, and the other one doesn't. Yeah. And so there's actually a debate about that.
It's like Quebec. Like often people will see that word and they'll say Quebec because QU, but it's actually Quebec. So the closer you are to Canada, it'll come out that way. I think anyway. I've never lived in Quebec, so if you're Canadian and watching and I'm doing it wrong and saying it backwards, I'm super sorry.
What was the most gross food you ever had?
I don't know.
I was trying to remember. I've had...
Like I can go through food that I think is gross, but it's not like poop. I've never eaten poop. So I think Abby wins that one for the day.
I think she would have issue. I mean, she was a kid and she didn't know what she was doing. So that was part of it. She didn't know what it was. But, oh, buddy, I'm sorry for you now. He says, I accidentally drank from my dad's tobacco spit cup.
Ew.
You threw up, I'm assuming.
That's disgusting.
If you got any one sip, whew,
That's nasty.
that's pretty gross.
Ew.
I've had some things that were not good, but I kind of forget those moments.
Yeah.
I don't think of that. Marky, I'm almost not hungry anymore. Almost.
I've eaten, it didn't taste bad, but I typically get weird faces when I say I've eaten dog before. I had dog in Jamaica. That wasn't bad. It was kind of gamey like goat is.
Mm-hmm. You know what is one of my favorite burgers is a bison burger.
Mm-hmm.
That is really good.
Ingles sells bison, like ground
Really?
bison. I've been eating it in my omelets in the morning.
Information that you need. Ingalls sells bison.
It sure does. It's expensive, but it's there and it's good.
They actually stopped selling it some places because it became so popular. My understanding is it became popular so fast that they actually had to restrict it. So that's why it's more expensive.
Okay, what's something that somebody would think is gross? You watching. Somebody would probably think it's gross, but you really like it. Like that sort of, you know what I mean?
Peanut butter pickle sandwich. Wasn't that what we had?
Mm-hmm.
We did on one of the earlier broadcasts, we ate weird foods.
Mm-hmm.
That was surprisingly okay. It wasn't horrible, but it was okay.
I think that peanut butter is a gateway food for mixing other foods. Like, I think it's that food that you can mix other foods with and have it be okay.
Peanut butter, you devil. You gateway food.
Because the weird food that was in my head, like the thing that I'll still eat, is a peanut butter and sharp cheese sandwich. Like sharp white cheese with peanut butter is awesome. It's really good.
One thing that does come to my mind is something that's gross would be the soup that I had in Africa. The pepper soup had cow intestine. And yes, I ate it, and yes, I chewed it for 5 minutes. So your texture would be just loving it.
It would. I would do it for Jesus. If I'm selecting it, probs not.
The taste wasn't bad. It was the chewiness of the intestine is what was the issue.
Yeah. Buddy says that there's a restaurant there that makes the best burger ever, a peanut butter and jelly burger. I bet
I've
that's
had
great.
one of those, and it's actually pretty good.
What does the peanut butter do with it? Like, I can imagine the jelly being really good on top of hamburger, but the peanut butter's interesting.
It just adds a little, almost like a salty to it. It's good.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
Are you saying that's bad, Marky, or are you saying that's a good thing? Okay, I thought so. A burger with a donut bun. I bet that's great.
Do you have, so now we have watchers that are watching from all over. So one of the most interesting comments that I get all the time is peanut butter banana sandwich. Yeah. That I grew up on, very common to me. With Duke's mayonnaise, of course.
That's an important
note
in there.
Duke's mayonnaise, peanut butter, and banana sandwich. Have you had them? Do you like them? Is the question. Jessica Romero, good to see you.
I have lived here for 7 years, and it'll be 7 years in August. And for almost 7 years, I have made it without having to eat a mayonnaise, peanut butter, and banana sandwich.
You really should try it. It's actually good. It's very good. Dessert I like. Bananas Foster. I like Bananas Foster.
What is that?
It is basically bananas seared. A lot of times they'll use a alcohol, and of course it cooks out the alcohol, but they cook the bananas in that alcohol, and then it kind of, I don't know the word, probably Ashley would probably know the word, but it basically starts to break down the banana some, and it forms like a caramel. I think they cook it with it's like a caramel sauce that ends up being, and then they'll put it with ice cream, and I like that.
It's like a gourmet banana split.
Yeah, it's not, no, it's not like that. Yeah, Priscilla said Elvis loved PB, peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Marquis gave you a mini panic attack to comprehend it.
I understand. So again, going back to texture.
See, Buddy says the face from Nickelodeon liked peanut butter and banana sandwiches, so he tried it. It wasn't bad. You like, all right, texture.
Yeah, so texture, I don't like mayonnaise, period. Like any sort of mayonnaise I think is really gross. On anything, I don't eat it on BLTs, nothing. I won't eat it. So and I'm that way with butter too. Like I don't eat butter. So imagining that with peanut butter and banana has been where the block has been.
You just have to eat it, and it's good to just throw away what you think in your head is bad so you can expand. So Ashley says the Bananas Foster, it makes caramel with alcohol and brown sugar. Brown sugar, yeah, and fire. That's cool. You've never had Duke's mayonnaise that you can, that's a great question. What is mayonnaise? What's your favorite brand of mayonnaise? And praise God, my wife is not on this broadcast at this moment. Ashley, I am going to send you a jar of Duke's mayonnaise. My wife will make this happen. Absolutely. And Marky is violent again. You don't eat butter?
I don't like the taste of it. It's like I don't like the taste of mayonnaise. I don't like the taste of butter. So when I started keto and I was supposed to be eating butter with more things, I stopped that. But it took a lot for me to be able to eat butter on things. I think Pastor Nicole and I had gotten a recommendation from someone here at the church to have, bulletproof coffee with butter inside.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I know some people don't mind it.
You don't really taste it at all. Yeah.
It was a little bit saltier.
Yeah.
And I could feel it. And again, butter and texture and. I tried it. I don't care for it. Even with lobster, I won't eat butter with lobster either. Honey butter? No.
Ashley
really.
says they only eat Bama mayo, and it's in some of the stores. She says it's like a sin here not to eat anything but Bama. That's the way it is here with Dukes. I wonder if they're similar. But, And Buddy says Serena likes peanut butter and butter on bread. Is that normal? Not that I'm aware of, no.
I think I had that growing up.
Peanut butter and butter?
I think my grandma did that. I think she'd butter it first and let the butter melt and then put peanut butter on top of it.
Huh.
I think.
Oh, here's a good one too is, one of the things I like is I really like a good homemade butter fried cheese sandwich. So
yeah, like a grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese, butter. Yeah, I like that a lot, especially with a good soup. That's awesome.
What kind of cheese?
Just a regular.
American?
Yeah, just regular yellow cheese. The whiter cheese is fun too. But all right, so here's a question. Well, Deb, peanut butter and butter is awesome. Huh. George, peanut butter toast. We had that. I hadn't thought of that in a long time. And make toast and then spread peanut butter on it. So.
Buddy's throwing shade back at Marky.
So. Oh, that was another thing. So 2 things. On the salad, this is something that I found. I do like texture. I like crunchy. And so on the salad, Nicole and I found out that it's really good to put grape nuts on salad. And when the grape nuts will absorb some of the dressing, but it's still crunchy, and that was really good. But somebody said it's hard to find grape nuts now. They might not have it anymore. But well, I tried to pull it back from the gross stuff we ate, Abigail. She says now I'm getting hungrier, which is making her gas station run very dangerous. But we had gotten to the gross food, and then nobody was hungry anymore. That was not the effect I was going for.
My salads are not the one thing, but one of the things that George really, really likes me to make for him, because I balance salty and sweet in my salads.
Yeah.
I'll cut grapes up in there, and I'll put them in with a sharp cheese, like a sharp cheddar cheese. So there's a mix of both in there. So I'm a big salty sweet person too, in lots of things.
One of the things, so you remember the song by Men at Work? Talking about the rains down in Africa?
Yes.
No, that's Toto. Men at Work. You remember the food? Does anybody remember the food from that song? The Men at Work song. What's the name of that song? Down Under. So what is the food from that song, and have you had it? All right, I'm calling it because after this question, we're calling it a broadcast.
Because it's been almost 2 hours, everybody.
Holy moly. Deb and Abigail got it. A Vegemite sandwich. You got it. Have you had it? Have you had Vegemite?
No.
Great question. She said, what is Vegemite?
You should go buy it and tell us what it is. Try it.
It is very interesting, and it is probably not what you think. We had it in Hawaii, because Hawaii has they have a lot of visitors from Australia, and Asia. So it's because it's in the center. They have more. They have a lot more international visitors there than we would have in America, simply because of the location. So on the breakfast bar, many of them had Vegemite there. I'm like, ever since I was a kid, I want to try a Vegemite sandwich. What is it? So I Googled it and found out that what it was. Yeah, and Priscilla said, I think Spam, when I think Hawaii. Spam is a big thing in Hawaii. Like, that's they would have to lock up the Spam. That literally, Hawaiians were telling us they would lock up the Spam, which that was interesting.
Isn't Vegemite gross?
Well, Marky, so you said Pastor Lois eats Vegemite? That's cool. So, yeah, George, did you sing the song when you ate it? Absolutely. All right, so Deb gave us the description. Vegemite, thick, dark brown Australian food spread. So it's a spread made from leftover brewer's yeast extract and various vegetable and spice additives. All right, so now, here's the problem. It looks like Nutella. And people think that they should, here's the problem with it. People think that they should spread it like Nutella or like peanut butter. And that is the last thing that you want to do, because it is very potent. And generally, you do not want that. It's too strong. It's very much a yeast flavor in that way. But if you like salty, and it's very salty, so if you spread it like, peanut butter or like Nutella, you're going to be in for an interesting experience, and no wonder you wouldn't like it. But that's not how they have it. It's not really a sandwich as much as it is like a piece of toast. The first thing they do is they melt butter on it. They get a good bit of butter on the toast, and then they take a can of Vegemite will last them forever. They'll take just a touch of that and spread it over it very, very, very thin. And so what was neat was when we were trying it, there were literally people right there from Australia telling us how to do it. And the first day I was like, okay, that's an interesting flavor. I don't necessarily like it. But by the end of the week, I was going, I want a toasted with Vegemite. So it was good though. I enjoyed it. I don't think everybody would. There's definitely a certain flavor of it. But how educating we were today. What do you think?
I mean, we're 2 hours in at this point, and I still haven't had breakfast today. Like I
haven't either. I had coffee.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to eat my food that I packed. pretty stoked about that.
I'm pretty hungry right now.
Yep, I've got some scrambled eggs that I'm gonna heat up.
I would have loved to have heard my wife's comments throughout this whole broadcast. That would have been fun. If you haven't seen the Truth Talk video that they premiered yesterday, was it?
Yes.
It was funny. I laugh I'm dying. So you'll have to go and find that part. It is so funny. And then I smell poop. That's another quote from the show. It's awesome.
We also talk about Jesus stuff, so not just poop and death. Like we do it all. We do it all.
You need to watch Truth Talk. But anyway, we just thank you for being a part of the family, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation about food. We love you. Give us a wave in the comments. Wave to us bye as we leave today. And Father, right now, we just thank you for all of your goodness. Thank you, Father, for giving us family together in this earth, Lord. Thank you that we have family. We praise you, we worship you, and we give you all of the glory. Thank you, Lord, for fun. Thank you for joy. Thank you for family in every way. Thank you for your goodness and your mercy. We love you and we praise you, Jesus. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Glory to God. Like, I don't know if my comments aren't happening or if there's really, okay, there's some waving. Or if there's really a delay today. There might be a delay.
Or people are just done. They're like, I've waited
It's
2 hours for food. I'm getting food.
I'm going to go eat.
Yeah. You've talked about French fries. You've talked about
I'm leaving
Cheez-Its.
it playing, but I'm going to go eat. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's probably been George.
Or they have, cheese dip dripping off their fingers on one hand and a chicken wing in their other. And it's like, I can't talk right now.
I know that we're signing off. I know it happened, but I have one final question because George and I just had a food debate. And
A food debate.
Yes. George thinks that this would be disgusting. I think it has real promise and potential. And Abigail was on my side. So, chicken wings, fried chicken wings,
Yeah.
and queso.
What kind? Like Mexican queso?
However, in my head, it was a little bit spicier, but I prefer spicy things. So however you want to do queso, would you have them together? I for sure would. Like a spicier Mexican queso with chicken wings, I think would be great.
I mean, I would try it, but I don't think I would like it. I don't think I would. Abigail just likes cheese. You had her at cheese.
I did. I don't remember where your wife fell on this. I feel like I texted her too. I don't remember. But you know what? Pancha Villa has chicken wings and Pancha Villa has queso. And when that puppy opens back up, we can put this to the test. We sure can. The next Sunday we're there.
Priscilla and Rebecca said they think it'd be good, but Deb goes, nope. I think Buddy gave you a thumbs down too. Sherman, we're still here. You know why we're still here? Because we've talked about food for 2 hours. That's why.
We're not fasting yet.
Yeah.
What's interesting, though, with the exception of Deb, is that the girls that have heard this theory so far have said yes, except for Deb.
And the guys have said no.
Yeah, which is interesting.
That is interesting. So there is like the garlic Parmesan wings, but see, that's not a cheese dip. It's just which I do like those. I do like those. Sherman's laughing at our food conversation. I know. It's been a good one, Sherman. It's been fun.
I really
We're
do
like
think,
winding down now, but
I think it could have potential. I think you'd have to find the right type of cheese, and you'd have to make sure that the fried chicken's good. But I feel like this could be a good thing. I feel like it could.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Abigail, I want to perform a scientific experiment with you, and Marky's in this too. Oh, no, did you switch places? You switched places, you're taller. Okay, so Abby and I are going to find the right type of queso and the right type of chicken wing, and we're going to make it work, and it's going to be great.
Deb says, I guess I'm the oddball. She's the lady who doesn't think it sounds good.
Well, someone somewhere decided, you know what would be good together? Chicken wings and waffles. And that's a whole movement. I feel like we're on the precipice of one.
I don't get that.
I do. I like that. There's a place, I'll have to ask my friend John. My friend John took me and George to a place in Greensboro that had homemade waffles, homemade, like fresh battered fried chicken with like a spicy cinnamon syrup on it. And oh my goodness, it was so good. And It's not typically something, but it was good.
I've had it. I've had what I would consider good ones, but the combination was not
Really?
hitting
Salty
me.
and sweet.
Yeah, I know. Now you talk about food I like. I like breakfast food. I specifically like waffles and pancakes. Just again, syrup.
Plain or with fruit or with chocolate?
No, I like definitely not chocolate.
Yeah, me
I
too.
do not like chocolate in like. Somebody was like, "Oh, put some chocolate chips in." I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
you ruin." And the reason is because chocolate takes away from the syrup taste to me. But I don't like that at all. Most of the time, I don't like fruit on it. So
I like blueberries. I'm pretty big on blueberries in anything. Muffins, pancakes, waffles. Blueberries are my favorite. I am from Maine.
George, what was that sandwich that you had over in
A Cuban.
a Cuban? It was good, I have to say.
I think it was a Cuban. I'm pretty sure.
What are they laughing at back there? Sandwich?
We're thinking about just starting the music and seeing what happens.
They're just going to start the music and see. What was it Deb said? Oh my goodness, amazing.
Chicken and waffles. She likes her some chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
Tupelo Honey, that's a restaurant.
Maybe I just need to have it. I think Jade just came back home. Y'all are still talking about food? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Buddy says he's fascinated by Pastor Bryan's scientific approach to his food choices.
Not just food choices. Not just food.
Whoa. Ashley, have you ever tried ham? See, we're trying to shut down, and y'all keep going. It's y'all's fault.
We're here to serve
It's
you.
your fault. She says, have you ever tried ham, mayonnaise, cheddar, and pineapple sandwich on white sandwich bread?
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I've never tried it, no.
I've had
Buddy, my scientific approach to food, it makes me feel like my opinions are wrong.
Right?
Hey, you know what is a great show, if you can find it, is Good Eats with Alton Brown. His scientific approach to food, like, it hit all my buttons. It was awesome. Like, I love the way he approached cooking. It was great.
It was a Cuban, and Johnny, he got it at Johnny's in Rockwell.
Wow.
Yep.
And it was good, I have to say. It was good. George had 3 of them. Wasn't that right?
He had 2, and he really wanted a
Oh,
third,
okay.
and withheld himself, and then the whole way home complained that he didn't get a third one because he really wanted it.
Ashley says it's very good, the pineapple sandwich.
I really like meat with jellies. Like if you go to restaurants, when we went to Tennessee last year on the way home from Texarkana, we had stopped, and I don't know what kind of meat it was in Nashville, but they had like 6 different homemade jams and jellies that you were supposed to put on the meat, and I really like that. Again, the salty and the sweet together. So I could do ham and fruit, like meat and fruit, meat and jellies. I'm for that. But like spicy jellies, or what's the other name for it?
George just defended himself. I had 2. Okay. But you would have had 3.
Like,
if there was nobody around to watch, the third one would have been ordered.
if it was open, I can foresee, like, if the restaurant was open tonight, I could see George being like, we're going to Rockwell.
He said, hashtag, only 2, not 3.
George did a hashtag.
Johnny said they brought that show back. That's a cool show. Awesome. Something else that we used to eat, marshmallows that would be baked on top of saltine crackers. That is a great combination. It's very cheap, which is why we ate it. And but
It is good, though.
Ashley says now she's going to have to go make her pineapple sandwich. Yeah, and something that I don't remember us making, but we've been making a lot of them, is dump cake, which is very simple to make and very easy, but it's good. It's a good combination. Basically, you get a can of crushed pineapple, you dump that in, you take crushed pineapple can, and then you'll take another fruit like strawberry or apple or blueberry or anything like that. And then you'll dump like just a yellow box cake on top of it, and kind of you'll mix it up a little bit. Nicole can give it to you, and then you bake it. And it and then you take like a stick of butter and you melt it and pour it over top of it. And that forms almost a crustiness on the top that's very good.
Cobblery.
Yeah, and then you can put ice cream on it. But it's really easy to make, and we've had about 5 of them during the lockdown.
I think my favorite one that your wife made was blueberry and pineapple. Blueberry and pineapple dump cake. She did that for an ELT meeting once, and it was good.
Yeah, well, and she just came up. We had another one. Buddy says it's a broadcast that never ends.
This is a broadcast that never ends. Go get you some snacks, my friends.
That's interesting because he put music symbols by it. I didn't know what that mean, but apparently you do.
You don't know that song?
Nope.
This is a song that never ends, and it goes on and on. My friends, some people started singing it not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because it is the song it's a lamb chop song.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that was the speed version of that song. I was like, I have to get to the end.
the dump cake that we just made, and I have to say, it was impressive. What was it? Chocolate cake mix and strawberries. It was the strawberry was the fruit, and instead of the yellow cake mix, she did chocolate. I'm not a huge chocolate fan, but that was a great combination, and it was good.
You know what I bet you would like, because, well, maybe, I don't know, you're different sometimes with this, but you really like the cherry cordials. I bet the chocolate with the cherry would be good.
Yes, yeah, and she liked strawberries, that's why we did that, and that was good, but the cherries would probably be good. But I only like the cherries. If I had to pick between the fruits, it's always going to be strawberry.
Really?
Mm-hmm, yeah, so, but the cherry milk, it's because my dad he loved chocolate-covered cherries. The milk chocolate-covered cherries like the Queen Anne's.
Mm-hmm.
So
George likes those too. George likes cherries.
All right, we love you. Stop
Bye.
holding us here. We've been trying to leave for an hour. Geez,
least
why
an
have
hour.
you hung around this long? It's crazy. We love you. Thank you for being part of our family. Have a great, great day.
Bye.
Yeah, see you. Later.
Thank you.